Your halo is slipping and your castle's coming down with consequences raining from your life.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Jen.
And I'm Stephen James.
And we have a very special guest for you today, Cody Hanson with Hinder. Cody, welcome to Toon Talk. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good.
We're doing fantastic. We're
Really,
so
really
excited.
happy to have you here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, so thanks. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're interviewing Cody today because he has the band Hinder is going to be playing at the Vault coming up in just what, a week
July
or so?
26th, yep, next week.
Yep. And we're really super excited. The town is really excited to have you guys. There's quite a bit of buzz going on, and we just like to get to know Cody a little bit better.
Well, awesome. Well, just let me know what you want to know, and I'm happy to spill it.
Well, I've already mentioned before, and these guys don't know that I was scoping you out, spying you on Facebook a little bit, and I ran across your mother. And she seems like such a sweet person. And she's a foodie, which I love, and I totally can relate to that. But what was music like in your household? What was she listening to?
Oh man, I don't really remember too much about what my parents were listening to growing up. I mean, my dad was like super into, country, whatever was on country radio, that's to. And if we tried to put anything else on in the shop or whatever while we were working on stuff, he'd freak out. But I don't know. I had an older sister that was 10 years older than me, and an older brother that was 5 years older than me. So whenever I was like really young, I was listening to all kinds of stuff that I probably shouldn't have been listening to. I remember like I was probably in kindergarten listening to like Two Live Crew. Shit that was just filthy. So I had a pretty serious mouth on me whenever I was pretty young. So
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, right.
No, I was expecting more like Rat and like Def Leppard and stuff like that, or maybe it would like stuff you shouldn't be listening to would have been
Slaughter,
Metallica, Pantera.
Yeah, I mean, I did get into that later on, but I mean, I guess that was probably whenever I was like, I don't know, close to high school, I guess, is when I get into that. Yeah, but the as far as the rock stuff goes, the first band that I think really got me into rock was Bad Company. So that was one, and then I remember. I got really into Buddy Holly and Jimi Hendrix for a while. So yeah, I was really all over the place growing up. And I guess I still am. Yeah. I like all types of music.
Well, that's refreshing to hear, because I mean, some of us really we have that wide spectrum in our portfolios of what we like to listen to, and then some, it's just.
Yeah. They got to stick to that same genre of music and kind of don't venture outside of it too much. But do you remember like a story or anything like that from your first concert experience?
Well, I mean, I remember, growing up, we would go to like little music festivals here and there. But it was never like anybody like that I would remember or anybody that was big. It was kind of a lot of local bands and stuff. And I always remember that, I was always fixated on the drummer for whatever reason. So that was kind of my first memories of going to shows. But, my first show that I got to go to that I really wanted to go to was a band from Oklahoma called the Nixons. Okay. I don't know if you remember that band at all, but they had a big song back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, called Sister. We were just huge fans of that band. So that was my first show growing up.
Okay.
Where are they now?
Yeah, they're a really great band.
And if you could create a like super musical group who would you love to have in that group, and what would it be?
Oh man, I don't even, I don't even know if I could answer that question really, because, like I said, I'm so into so many different types of music that like, I couldn't do one, right? I'd have to do multiples,
You can have
because
an orchestra.
I might, yeah, that's possible. No, I'm really into, sometimes I'm into like really heavy stuff. Sometimes I'm into, lighter 90s rock, like, I don't know, like Third Eye Blind, for example.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Some days, I'm really into like rap rock.
Okay.
Some days I'm just into hip hop,
Just
mostly, if I'm being honest, not like new hip hop, but yeah, no, I love country. I'm really all over the place. It'd be really hard for me.
Well, I mean, obviously, we know you talked about you're the drummer in the band. What kind of got you into the drums? Well, I mean, how was it like? Tell us a little story about how that started.
Yeah, like I said, I just remember going to shows when I was young, and for some reason, I was really always, fixated on the drummer. I could never, take my eyes off the drummer, no matter what show I was at. It just looked so cool and interesting to me. But later on, I got into playing the guitar, and then, once we, got the band rolling, I got really into, writing music and producing music, and now I'm really into mixing and mastering, and all the nerdy stuff behind the scenes that nobody cares about. I'm really into it. So
Right on.
I think he finds that really interesting, fun aspect of it too. Because when we decided to do this podcast, that was something he started to learn how to do. And I think, as musicians, I've watched him grow tremendously, and come up with new sounds and stuff. Once you start figuring it all out, it's kind of cool.
yeah, it's very cool. A lot of, that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is how much time, that you have to commit to that if you want to get really good at it. It's, that's something that, you can never like really reach the top of. You can always improve and get better at it. And, for me, or for us, Marshall and I do a lot of recording here in my studio. And, we treated it like a full-time job for years, to get to the level that we're at. And yeah, and I mean, we're still chasing, other people's stuff. You know what I mean? Like people, we'll do this amazing mix, and we're still jealous of it sometimes. And I'm still chasing that. So yeah, I mean, it's a very cool thing to get into, but it's also very frustrating. It's frustrating but rewarding if you get something good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just like this podcast, because when this is all over and it's time to edit, I'll hear him for like the first 20 minutes trying to make sure that the video and the sound is set up right, and then he'll go through his normal stuff, and about 4 or 5 hours will go by, and I'll come by and he'll be like, "Oh, check this out," and he'll get all excited about something, or I'll hear him yell for me from across, the house, and I'll be like, "Dang, that is really cool. I'm glad you called me in." Like, yeah, use that. It's just, the whole process. I think what you guys do as musicians, I think, is really cool. The time I get that I really don't think that a lot of listeners really understand that when you're writing music and taking your time, you're not just going into a studio and just putting it out there and it's done, or even a couple hours. It's process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially now, with the way modern music is going, you have to incorporate so many different genres, I guess, or elements of different genres.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to make it interesting, and keep up with everybody else, if you want to stay modern, it seems like, you kind of have to do that. So that means you kind of have to get good at different genres, you know what I mean? And that takes a lot of time.
There's a lot of fused music these days. I mean, I one of my favorite bands right now is Sleep Token. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
You and everybody else.
yeah, they're
They're
just
everywhere, man.
yeah, they're just all over the map, man. And I really enjoy how the songs change, and and I like to be able to intertwine some of that into my music. It's not easy, it's difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you had mentioned earlier that you guys might be having a single coming out soon.
We do have a single coming out soon. I don't know the exact date yet, but I think it's August 22nd, 22nd or 23rd, somewhere around there. So yeah, we have an entire album completed, and yeah, I just have a little bit of mastering left to do for the vinyl version. But other than that, I mean, it's done. Artwork's done. Videos mostly done. So yeah, we're just setting up the plans and putting it into motion now. So it's we're very excited. It's been a long time for us.
Heck yeah.
So I take it from the way you're discussing it about mixing and mastering. You guys produce in all of your own music then.
Yeah, Marshall and I have been producing, like I said, producing together for so too many years now. Since the All American Nightmare record.
Okay.
We started working together back on that record in the back of our bus, and then we formed a little company called Back Lounge Productions. And so yeah, I mean, I've built a studio here at my house, and then we did that record here, co-produced that with Kevin Churko, who's amazing. We learned a lot from him during that process. And then we've done pretty much everything here since then.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's pretty much the way to go these days, is just writing and producing your own music. I mean, it's compared to working with a lot of the labels and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, on the promotion side. We're putting this one out through a label, an independent little boutique label that's been really cool to work with so far. So, I mean, that's exciting to find a good partner on the promotion side. But yeah, I mean, once we got started and had this record like pretty much finished by the time that we connected with them. So we were able to be, I don't know, as creative as we wanted to be, and had the freedom to do what we wanted to do. And, that's always awesome.
Right on.
Yeah. So you guys would be putting this single out and you're still be on tour.
Yeah. That's it's pretty cool. I mean, actually, one of the songs that's on the album, it's not going to be the first single, but we've been playing it for, I don't know, probably close to 2 years now. So it's kind of cool. We get to go out and test some of the new music in front of crowds and see their reaction. I think that's probably one of the best indicators that you can get, for new music.
Speaking of tour, do you have any hilarious stories that we could hear?
I get that all the time, man. I don't know. There's so many, honestly, but
So is that one crazy chick?
A lot of those. Now, the story that I always tell is just because it's the first one that pops in my head, is when we were, I don't even remember where we were, up in the mountains somewhere, doing the show at a ski resort. And it was in this big tent. There's snow outside, and so the tent was heated. It was really hot. And our guitar player Blower is like I don't know, he's like the jackass of the group. He'll do anything, right? So some guy had been like, I don't know, wearing his prosthetic leg, and he takes it off. He throws it up on stage. And so Mike, our bass player, picks it up, and his first thought was he was gonna hit Blower with it, right? And instead, he stops, thinks about it for a second, takes his vodka. Everybody takes their vodkas and they pour it down on this prosthetic leg. And this guy's been wearing this thing like we're headlining the show, right? So he's been wearing this thing for hours, like
Oh no.
down into this thing, right? And Blower being Blower, he just takes it, swirls it around, and makes sure he
Oh,
gets all the stuff, and then just chugs it.
oh no, no.
One of my favorites. It grosses me out a lot, but I mean, that dude's done so many disgusting things that's like far beyond that. But I think that's probably the most. I don't know. Probably the story that's like the most tame that I can tell.
That's good. I'm like, and as I'm picturing it in my head, I'm just thinking like social.
It's fun.
What holiday would you say has the best music?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, depends on the mood, right? Like some years I'm really into Christmas. Some years I just want it to be over.
Right.
So I mean, it kind of depends. Halloween's kind of fun. A lot of people come out with some like dark, heavy rock stuff
Right on.
around Halloween. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what other holidays like there's like specific music for. I don't.
Yeah,
So
unless you're like going like Easter, you got Christian music.
Mm.
I guess it could be.
You got love songs on Valentine's
Oh,
Day.
Valentine.
yeah,
Some Billy Ocean.
yeah. I mean,
Lionel
I guess.
Richie.
No, I think there's the most music is created. I think around Christmas. So I'll have to say that one.
Right on.
I immediately thought Dolly Parton's Hard Candy Christmas. When you asked that, I was like, Dolly Parton. Like, I don't know.
Well, we definitely want, I mean, we have a lot of our local, musicians that we interview a lot. We like to give them a platform, and with that, it's more of a getting to know you and who you are, where you're from, kind of type deal. And obviously you guys are been around for a while. You've been doing this. You've been in mainstream. So we didn't want to just ask the old typical questions. How'd you guys form? How long you been together, kind of type thing. So we wanted to give you a little bit more insight to who you are and your personality and what your likes and dislikes. And
Very cool. Well, good job. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Well, sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Cody.
you. Thank you
And,
so much for your time and being prompt.
Yeah, of course. We'll see you hopefully at the show.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you guys all for tuning in.
Remember to keep the music playing.